He was only 12 years old. No map, no money, no family. All he had was a small backpack on his shoulders and a war raging behind him. This is the true, incredible story of Omar, a boy who escaped death, crossed borders, and managed to find hope in the darkest of places. Before we dive into his journey, if you believe that powerful stories like this one deserve to be heard, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and share it. Your support helps bring these important narratives to a wider audience, and it means more than you can imagine. Omar's life wasn't always one of survival. He grew up in the beautiful, ancient city of Aleppo, Syria. Life was simple and full of joy. He was a typical kid who loved playing football with his friends in the streets, sketching the world around him in his notebook, and teasing his little sister, Layla. His father, a respected teacher, would tell him stories of history and science, while his mother was famous in their neighborhood for baking the most delicious bread. Their home was filled with laughter, warmth, and the sweet smell of fresh pastries. But in 2012, everything changed. The whispers of war grew into the deafening roar of conflict. The Syrian civil war had arrived at their doorstep. The familiar sounds of children playing were replaced by the chilling whistle of mortar and the ground-shaking thud of bombs. Schools became targets, so they closed their doors. The vibrant streets Omar once roamed were now filled with rubble and fear. Life became a constant state of anxiety, a desperate wait for the next explosion. One fateful night, the war struck their home directly. A devastating airstrike turned their entire street into a crater-filled landscape of dust and debris. In the chaos that followed, Omar's world was shattered. His little sister, Layla, was badly injured. Amidst the screams and the sirens, they realized his father wasn't coming home. He was gone. In the flickering candlelight of their ruined home, his mother, her face streaked with tears and dust, pressed a small, crumpled note into his hand. Her voice was a desperate whisper. "You must go," she said, her eyes pleading. "Run. You are our only chance. Survive for us." With his mother's desperate words echoing in his heart, Omar left at dawn. He had nothing but the clothes on his back, the note in his pocket, and a crushing weight of responsibility number 12-year-old should ever have to bear. He walked for hours, which turned into days. His journey was a blur of exhaustion and fear. He learned to navigate by the sun and stars, crossing vast, empty fields and wading through cold, rushing rivers. The roads were the most dangerous, patrolled by soldiers and filled with a tension you could feel in the air. He had to learn to be invisible, to move like a shadow, He finally made it to the Turkish border, a line on a map that represented a monumental obstacle. He saw his chance under the cover of darkness, hiding beneath a large transport truck, clinging to the undercarriage as it rumbled across into Turkey. The journey was terrifying, every bump in the road sending a jolt of fear through him. Once across, he was utterly alone. He slept in dense forests, the cold seeping into his bones. Hunger became a constant, gnawing companion, forcing him to beg for scraps of food. It was in these moments of desperation that he also discovered flickers of human kindness. A stranger, seeing his worn-out shoes, gave him a sturdy new pair without a word. Another, a weary-looking truck driver, saw the lost look in his eyes and gave him a tattered map, pointing him westward. His journey led him to Greece, but his relief was short-lived. He was caught by the police. For a terrifying moment, he thought it was all over, that he would be sent back to the war he had just escaped. But fate, or perhaps simple human compassion, intervened. One of the officers, instead of treating him like a criminal, looked at him with pity. He quietly handed Omar a bottle of water and a sandwich. It was a small gesture, but for Omar, it was a profound sign. It was a lifeline. It was hope. In Greece, Omar found he was not the only one on this perilous journey. He joined a small, weary group of fellow refugees, all strangers bound by a shared desperation. They became a makeshift family, walking together, sometimes up to 20 kilometers a day, their feet blistered and their bodies aching. The path was brutal. He saw people, young and old, collapse from sheer exhaustion, unable to take another step. He saw fear etched onto every face, the constant anxiety of what lay ahead. But he also witnessed incredible moments of kindness, people sharing their last piece of bread, carrying each other's children, offering a comforting word. In Serbia, he found a temporary refuge in a crowded shelter. There, amidst the cacophony of different languages, he picked up new words, learning to say thank you in 5 different tongues to express his gratitude for every small act of help. Every single night before drifting into an uneasy sleep, he would pull out the worn, creased photograph of Layla he kept safely in his pocket. He would look at her smiling face and whisper a promise to her and to himself. I will make it. I will make it for you. After 2 long, grueling months of walking, hiding, and hoping, Omar finally reached Germany. The journey that had tested the limits of his endurance was over. He was immediately placed in a shelter for unaccompanied minors. He was safe. The constant fear began to subside, replaced by a sense of security he hadn't felt in years. He threw himself into building a new life with the same determination that had carried him across a continent. He enrolled in language classes and quickly learned German, eager to communicate and connect with his new surroundings. He went back to school, soaking up the knowledge he had been deprived of. The boy who had walked across Europe was now a student once again. Today, Omar is 19 years old. He is not just a survivor. He is thriving. He excelled in his studies and is now in university, pursuing a degree in medicine. His motivation is deeply personal. He wants to become a doctor, to dedicate his life to saving others, just as his life was saved by the kindness of strangers and the compassion of people who chose to help. He wants to heal, to mend, to give back the hope that was given to him. If Omar's story of resilience and hope has touched you, please show your support by liking this video, sharing it with your friends, and subscribing to our channel. There is someone out there who needs to hear this story of survival and believe that a new beginning is possible. We believe in the power of true stories. Every Monday, we share a new one, telling the tales of real people and their incredible courage. Subscribe now so you don't miss out. And be sure to check out this Wednesday's upcoming story, The Queen Who Disappeared. Thank you for watching.